open fire. I don't know if you've seen those Hollywood movies where they always would ask that kind of thing. But yeah, so this is what they would do back in biblical times, and so the word came into the English vocabulary as a red herring, you know, a nonsense question. Well, as I was saying, I mean, Jews can't agree among themselves about anything. I think even less so than Muslims. So they don't agree, and they argue with each other. And it sounds like we're being buzzed or something. They argue with each other all the time, and in this book you see, that's all they do is what? Argue with each other. They're all arguing with each other. So people who think they're unified and that they are all together and they all see things the same way, you just haven't experienced the world that this book is describing. And then it's not just these two groups who are arguing. There's Reform, who are even more liberal or liberated or assimilated than this fellow Reuben here. And then there's conservative people who are somewhere in the middle, and so on. And then there are people who don't have any religion at all among Jews. And they still are considered Jews and so on. Or consider themselves Jews, or others consider them Jews. I mean, Hitler didn't ask if you believed anything. He just asked who your mother and father were, or who your grandfather was, or someone, and off he went to the gas chambers, regardless of what the president of Iran thinks. You know, so there are also all those people. So there's a lot of differences of opinion. And this book is full of that kind of difference. But the main argument here is between Orthodox and Hasid. And so someone said Orthodox, he says not Orthodox, these Hasids. Now, Danny is a Hasid, right? But Danny is a very odd sort of Hasid, isn't he? Danny is not what you would expect. You know, mostly religious people, if you've met them or know anything about them, particularly this kind of background, they pray like this all the day. They're reading the Torah, they're reading the Talmud, they're studying. They're very good now because of this kind of training in computer stuff, which is why Israel has a huge Silicon Valley now, rivaling Silicon Valley up in Palo Alto area and all those places, because the religious training they got, like Muslims too, in the madrasas, where they basically read and study the Quran or the Bible or the Talmud and don't do anything else, and they're very similar, by the way they behave in those institutions. What did I say the name of the institution was in the Hebrew language? Yeshiva. Now, madrasa in Arabic would be yeshiva in Hebrew. And it's, again, very graphic because it's a place where people sit down. They sit all day and don't do anything but study. So it means to sit down. And that's what they do all day. And there are people like this still, although I would reckon that in this country, among Jews, it would be about 5% of Jews are like this. Maybe less, maybe 2%. In Israel, maybe 10%, if that. Yeah, 10% of that. My friend is agreeing with me. He sees it the way I do. He knows. He's been out there. He knows what the score is. There was an incredible movie recently, 2 nights ago. I couldn't believe it. That was on Sundance Channel. I just, my eyes were glued to it, even though I didn't think it was, you know, it was obviously put up job by some of the people that were in it. But it was really incredible. It showed it was an hour and a half on-the-spot documentary of the withdrawal from the Gaza settlements. That just happened last spring. If you get a chance to see that on the Sundance Channel, you want to see Jews arguing with each other? Just turn that one on. You never saw so much arguing and disagreement and dislike of each other, and no unity whatsoever. So don't think that these people have unity or outlook. They don't at all. They disagree completely. And I've never met anyone who even agreed with me on anything. So, you know, everyone has a completely different. So, see see that movie, I don't remember the name of it, but if you do see it on the Sundance Channel, you'll really get an eyeful of the arguments between the army, between the police, between the settlers, between the supporters of the settlers, between the people in the middle, between the